So as you probably already know, there has been a lot of drama around the latest global event, the stretch goals, these gases over here, and the main reason for that is because you get one of these every two season levels, and there is like a 10% chance that you might get an extra drop, and in that 10% there's a 30% chance that you might get the Lexington, and there is an even smaller chance, there is another 5% chance that you might get an exclusive exotic from the raids or the incursion, and people are really pissed about the drop chances. So in this video we will open 20 of them to see what we will get. I have already gotten my Lexington. I think I got it in my second or third cast. I was extremely lucky. Turmoils I already have. But and after we open the cards, of course, we're gonna talk about the whole drama and my opinion about it, because I think there wouldn't been so much talk around this event if the developers didn't look behind it two items, the Lexington and the Turmoil, that were granted to a big portion of the community that simply happened to log into the game for a specific time window. And then at the same time, they have the rest of the community, the rest of the player base, and they're telling them, you know what, farm for 3 weeks this event and you might get it. And I agree that this is not the right way to do exclusive content. Not exclusive, but there shouldn't be any piece of gear in this game that's rewarded to the players simply because they logged in to the game for a specific within a specific week or whenever they released it. Especially Lexington, if you want my opinion, because Lexington came with different skins depending on how long you've been playing the franchise. For example, me, I played the Division 1 beta on Xbox. I pre-ordered the game on Xbox, then I got it on my PC. I played for another like 200, 300 hours there. I have on Division 1, I don't have that many hours played. I have around 500, and in Division 2, I have more than 1,000. And because I simply, I pre-ordered Division 2 and I played throughout its whole lifespan, really, for the past 4 years with small breaks. And one of those small breaks took place when they gave out Lexington. So you release a weapon which is supposed to reward the veterans, and that's why you have different skins on it depending on how long somebody has been playing the game. But at the same time, you don't give the same veterans anything if they don't play the game for those 2 weeks or whatever it was, right? It's a very, very wrong way of thinking how to reward the veteran players, or any players for that matter. Anyways, we will get more into that later on in the video. For now, let's open these 20 cases and see what we will get. Nothing. 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 Okay, that's a 50% chance, by the way, the cosmetics. Okay. Nothing again. Oh. More patches that nobody really cares about, I guess. Okay. Theoretically, even though probability and chances don't work that way, but out of the 20 cases that I will open, I should get at least 2 of the items that come within the 10% chance window, the named items. Okay, there we go. How many do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, almost around the 1 out of 10 cases. Okay. How many, items are in the 50% chance? Shield Splinter. That's in the 10% chance window as well. I already have that. Yeah, so basically, 1 out of every 10 cases might give you. I mean, that's not how chances work again, and probability and all that kind of shit, but you get the point. So yeah, as you saw, nothing crazy. We got the Lexington, we're digging the Turmoils, and those are the two items that the player base actually wants the most because they know that there is no other way to get them. And I completely agree with the majority of the player base saying that this event is done completely wrong when it comes to these two weapons. I think these two weapons should be granted for free to everyone as soon as they log in. Doesn't matter if they're a new player, doesn't matter if they haven't played in 5 years, doesn't matter if they just purchased the game. As soon as they hit level 40, it should go to their mailbox and stay there, because there's no reason to reward half of the community or a portion of it for simply logging in at a specific weekend or whatever it was, and then say to the rest of the player base, you're too unlucky, you will have to grind at the end of each season for the entire duration of 3 weeks and hope that you will get it. It's extremely wrong way of approaching the whole thing. However, at the same time, I completely disagree with the people saying that the drop chance for the exclusive exotics is extremely slow. They have done the math, and it turns out that their chance of getting the Eagle Bear, for example, is 0.017 or whatever it might be. I don't care. But there are other ways to get the raid exclusives. You can go do the raids, you can go do the incursion if you want the Ouroboros, you can go do the master difficulty on the climax mission if you want the other ones. I don't think we should, an event should be an event, right? Having slim chances of getting an item is how events should happen, especially when there are other ways in the game to go and get those exact same items. The gameplay you're watching in the background, by the way, it's not random. I picked to do this mission simply because back when Warlords of New York came out and exotics actually used to mean something, and you weren't getting them simply because you reached level 60 on the season pass or whatever the case is today, we had to grind this mission literally hundreds of times until we got the Bullet King. I was one of the lucky ones. I think I got it within my first 50 or 60 runs, somewhere around there. But there were people that did this mission on Heroic where the drop chance from the final boss for the Bullet King was 7%, if I remember correctly. And, obviously it's a very exhausting and tiring, process in order to farm the exotic back then. However, at the same time, when you matched up with somebody, when you group up with somebody and you saw them holding the Bullet King, that actually meant something, Exotics were exotics. I feel like most exotics nowadays have lost the meaning of an exotic. They're named items on the season pass, really. You're gonna get them if you play the game. Doesn't matter if you're lucky, doesn't matter if you're unlucky. Very few exotics are left in the game where you actually, need to do specific things in hopes to get them, like the Ouroboros from the incursion, the raid exclusives, and the climax mission, I think, yeah. Which, again, master difficulty isn't that hard, really, so you can get all of them if you matchmake or just do the mission a couple of times. I kind of miss the old meaning of the exotics, where it pretty much meant that you got extremely lucky to get it. And I think new players actually don't really understand how much easier it is to get loot now. And I'm not talking only about the exotics, I'm talking about loot in general. You have Countdown, where you get 40 drops per 17 minutes, which is unheard of. You have targeted loot, which not only now you can see what drops were on your map, but you can even interact with it and change the targeted loot to whatever you want to farm in game modes like Summit and Countdown. All those things were unheard back in the original Division and in the first couple of years for Division 2. And even though I understand why they implemented them in order to make the game easier and more accessible to newer players, so there isn't this huge gap of things that the new players need to farm in order to catch up with the older players, At the same time, I feel like it comes with a cost, and that cost is that, you know, items aren't that hard to get anymore. Seeing someone with an exotic doesn't mean that much because there are so many ways that you can farm exotics nowadays that it's like just a matter of time of when you're gonna get it. And I'm not saying that they should go back to the way the game used to be at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just expressing my thoughts about the current situation of exotics. As I said, I completely disagree with locking um, items that were granted to half the player base by doing for simply doing nothing other just logging into the game, having the rest of the player base having to farm for hours and hours and days and weeks in order to might get them. I think that's a terrible idea. But when it comes to the exotics, because I saw a lot of people complaining that, oh, I'm not gonna get the eagle bear out of this event. Well, you shouldn't get the eagle bear, you shouldn't get the regulus, you shouldn't get the ravenous, you shouldn't get the ouroboros. If you want to get them, there is a way to go and get them, which is much easier. Keep in mind that exotics have also been added, raid exclusive exotics have been added to the Dark Zone, so there's already a different way to go get them if you don't like the raids. And then people are going to say, oh, I don't like the Dark Zone as well. Well, what do you want me to do, bro? Another option would be to have exotics from, legendary missions, but then people would complain that they cannot do the legendary missions, so that they don't like it. So the developers are always going to lose on that debate. There's no matter what they do, there will always be people complaining. And as things are right now, with the current situation of the event and with the current situation of all the drama around the event, I think players are 100% correct to complain about the Lexington and the Turmoil. But at the same time, people think that they should get the Eagle Bear because they open 60 or 70 cases. It's a joke, really. It really is a joke. They shouldn't. That's not how the hardest item to obtain in the game should be given out to the players. It's a healthy thing for a looter shooter to have a couple of items that it's extremely hard to get or extremely rare. And as things are right now, most of the exotics don't even fall in that category. We have like 5 exotics that are still, really hard to obtain. And I don't think that they should make those available to the entire player base basically for free because they opened 50 or 60 or 100 caches. But yeah, let me know down below in the comment section your thoughts, guys, about this whole situation. Have you gotten your Lexington and your Turmoils? Have you gotten any raid exclusives? Have you gotten nothing? Let me know. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye bye.